Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. Now today I'm answering a few questions. I've had quite a few comments recently of crafters that tend to make smaller cards, and they were quite concerned that especially the new collection didn't fit into their sort of card making area. So I thought I'd just pop in and see what I could create on a smaller design. And I must admit, in my little groups, I've been doing 3 by 3 inch cards. And you know, it's amazing what you can fit on such a small area. And remember, you don't always have to stamp the whole design. You don't need the whole stamp. But anyway, I've come up with this lovely little design. And this piece of card is 5.5 inches by 4 inches. Now you could do this direct on the card, but also, you know, if you wanted, if you're making square cards, you could actually make a 4 inch by 4 inch square, and you could still have that main part of the design on. So I think you've got a lot of scope with this. And I must admit, I've loved using these two colours together. I wouldn't normally put pink and blue together, but I've just had such fun creating it. So if you're one of those crafters, I'm hoping this helps and maybe just spurs you on to just give you some idea what you can put just for a change on your small cards. I do think with postage, you know, it is something that does concern a lot of us. So maybe, you know, it's nice to just take on board. We love listening to your comments, and we do take things on board and try and help where we can. So I'm going to come in with Eve. Now, obviously, she's the smaller of our two fairies, but it is important because there will always be crafters who want larger stamps. So it's so good that, oh, look at that. Do you see that? That's how we lose things, isn't it? My little Woodland Fern had attached itself to the bottom of my acrylic block. Must admit, my little holly stamp's gone walkabout. That's probably attached itself to the bottom of something. But yes, as I was saying, it's nice to have a variety of stamps, large and small, because we're all different. And, you know, we all make different size cards and scrapbook pages and notelets, journals, calendar pages. I mean, it's amazing how many different areas you can use your stamps. Right, I'm stamping in black in the Nocturne, Versafine Clair. And I'm just going to turn this to the side. You know me, it's just easier for me. And we'll stamp her this side. And because she's a silhouette, I'm just going to give that ink time to soak in. We want a good... It makes me laugh because when I do that here, my shoulders crack. I think that's just a sign of getting older, isn't it? Right, so we'll just give that, lift that off. Beautiful. She's so gorgeous, don't you think? So that's Eve. I don't know if I told you that. You know what I'm like, I forget half the time. Now, I'm going to come in with one of the Catkins now, the Fairy Catkins. And there's a larger one, but I'm coming with the smaller, just to stamp around the edge here. Now, again, I'm going to keep with black. This does look lovely stamped in the brown, the pine cone. But for this, I'm going to keep it with the black, just because it shows up lovely with the pink. And the first one we'll just put almost as an arch over her head. Oh, look at that. Right on my thumb. I'm having one of those days today. Slightly worried I'm turning into a messy crafter overnight. And I blame Sarah Anderson for that. I've obviously spent too much time with her. She's turning me into a messy crafter. It's no good. Right, so I'm just going to put a couple of these lovely branches just here. Possibly one there. And then just ink up. Possibly. Can I just get that lovely? Oh, I just want just one in there. And then I'm going to stop because I don't want to overcook it. Right, yes. I like that shape there. So I'm definitely going to stop there. I'll give that a wipe. with the old Inky Binky and pop that over there. Now I'm going to just give that a blot. Again, Versafine Clair, it's a slower drying ink. I know I say this every time and blot it, but it's just such a good habit to get into. Because I'm going to add my background colour now, and if I don't blot it, that black will smudge. So I'm going to come in with my circle mask and add it to where our lovely lantern is. But I'm just going to turn it this way, just because that's easier for me. And I'm coming in with the blue Atoll. Now mine's quite, my ink pad, I've used it a lot recently, considering I'm not a blue girl. So I'm not going to dab this on the lid because this ink pad's been used a lot, so it's not very juicy. I have bought a new one, but my new one's extremely juicy. I would definitely be dabbing that on the lid. But it's amazing the difference, and that's something to bear in mind. You get so much pigment with these, which is fabulous, but when they're new, they are extremely juicy. So I almost like to have a new one and an old one. Oh, sorry, I should say older. Shouldn't say old, might get offended. So I've gone round the moon mask look, and we'll take that off. But I just want to add a little bit more colour. So I'm just going to add a bit of colour here. And you see how I can just get it. And I'm just slightly tickling around the feet. And then I just want to bring in one of my mini hill masks. This one. We get 3 in the packet. And I just want to create this shape, and again I turn it on the side just because it's easier for me, and if I can just mimic that shape there. And again just want to flick off the hill mask. Now I would better give that a wipe. I nearly put it away. I told you, turning into a dirty crafter. My goodness, that won't do. So when I turn it this way, look, we've got that lovely design here. Now, if we wanted at this stage, we've got choices. We could leave this as snow. And I must admit, originally, that was my thought. But then I brought in my confetti and the whole design changed. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes this happens. Designs almost take over. I have an idea in my head, and then it's almost like the design says, oh, I'm going to do something a bit different. So what I ended up doing was actually adding some confetti around the whole of the design. And I'm just going to use my stencil brush. And I'm just going to come up. And I almost want that edge. So I want to blend it with the blue. But I don't mind if there's a white area there, because I love that shape. So again, in the corner and then along the base here. And I always ink up in the corners, dabbing it on the lid. And it doesn't worry me about going over the Fairy Catkins here, because I'm going to colour those pink anyway. Again, add on the corner and then just pop a little bit along the top. Just slightly blend it. And the brushes are fabulous for this. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to pop that lid on. And then just will give this a spritz. Now I could smoosh my card in it. I say could, because actually today I'm just going to wipe it up with my Inky Binky. But at home, if you want to make another background, you smoosh your card in that. Now look at that. I just think that's such a lovely shape. So what we're going to do now is add a little bit of stamping just in the background. I want to bring in my copy paper, and I'm going to use, where is it, the Winter Magic stamp. Now, as always with my word stamps, I do put an arrow on the back of my stamp because I am liable to stamp it upside down. And for this, I'm going to use Charming Pink. But with words, and you probably do this already, but a little tip, I always stamp out first just to see. And yes, first generation would be too dark for me. And second generation is quite dark. So for the middle bit here, I'm going to go third generation. And can you see that? And I think that's enough for there. But I just want it a little bit darker. Around the edges where the ink's darker, I can get away with it being darker. So we'll go second generation. So we'll have that one down there. Again, make sure my arrow, make sure my stamp's the right way up. And that one there. So it almost looks, it's quite clever that, because it almost looks like it's all the same. But obviously this is a lighter background. So my stamping needs to be lighter and darker background, so my stamping's just that one step darker. Hope that makes sense. So while we're stamping, let's stamp the bottom edge. And for this, I'm coming in with a lovely Woodland Fern. And I'm going to do a combination of Warm Breeze and the black. So the Warm Breeze will bring in these lovely blue tones, but the black, I also want to bring in a little bit more black stamping, just for balance. So if we do some first and second generation with this, and again, ferns grow in clumps, don't they? So we'll have a few of these clumps. Maybe just have one there off the page, and then another, and we'll just alter the height there. And then we'll come in with the black, but I just want to give this a bit of a wipe. Even though I'm going to black and it's a darker colour, obviously I don't want to contaminate my ink pad. So we'll have a few, we'll have just one there, a couple there. We want to just have that variety in size and shape. Again, we want it to look as natural as we can. Just a little clump there. Yeah, happy with that. So now we can add some colour. And just going to lean on that. To add some colour today, we're going to use our lovely watercolour pencils. And very simply, I'm going to pick out a pink and a blue to carry on this lovely pink and blue tone. Now on the lantern here, look, just going to add a little bit at the top, around the edge and at the base, some pink. And we'll start on a lovely hat, look. She's going to have a stripy hat. So we'll add pink and blue. And we'll just go alternate. So I'll come in with the blue. And I'm not quite going to the top, look, I'm leaving a little bit of white at the top. Now on here, these gorgeous little flowers or buttons or little swirls, I'm going to colour those blue. And then her wing, I'm going to colour pink. But because I want to add a bit of contrast with the pink, I'm going to bring in a little bit of red just for depth here, down the edge, look. You see how that instantly just adds that lovely bit, and on here, we'll just add a little bit of red. So I'm just going to turn it round to do these berries, which I'm going to colour them pink. But just at the base, and Tracy has put dots. She's so good, she shows us where we need the shade, the darker colour. So if you're not sure, look at the stamps. So I'm colouring them all red first, and then I'll come in, look, with some pink. And as I say, you go in tone on tone. We've got the pink underneath. So that's a good cheat way that we didn't have to do any masking. So this as well is quite a quick card. Look at that. So we'll put those away, making sure I put them in the right order. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different today. Normally I would get my water brush and watercolour at this point, but instead I'm going to use my Wink of Stella as a water brush. So on the lantern, look, so you see how, now let me see if I can show you. You know I'm not very good at my camera work. If I bring this up, look, can you see that's white there? But if I pick up that colour, so I'm almost using it as a sparkly water brush. So you see how that's blended, that colour now. So I'm going to do the same on her hat, just on the pink part, because if you look, the end of my brush has just picked up a little bit of the pink. But I can do the hat, I can do my lovely berries. And so basically I'm almost using glittery water to watercolour the pencils. And then what we'll do, turn it round, and I'm going to start at the pink bit of her wings, and obviously as you would when you're watercolouring, and then move to the red, because look, when we activate the red, how beautiful that is, and just drag that colour down. But as I say, the end of my brush has got the pink on it, so we'll just clean that. It doesn't take a lot, look. That's clean now. So now I can come into the blue and just activate the blue. And then on her hat again, starting at the dark end and just blending up to the light. So that's a lovely tip if you've not used your Wink of Stella to watercolour paint with. Absolutely beautiful and perfect for Christmas cards. Now, I'm not sure whether you can pick that sheen up. You know, I keep saying we need a cameraman here. But believe you me, and I'm sure if you photograph your cards, oh, if we got it there, you know what it's like. It's not easy capturing that glimmer. But take it from me, it is beautiful. And I just think it's a lovely way to add shimmer. Now I'm going to clean the nib again. And just to show you how clean it gets, we'll add some shimmer around the moon, look. And look at that, beautiful. There's no colour there. So if you pick any colour up when you've used it for watercolour painting, you can easily get rid of it just by wiping it on your kitchen towel. And then just to finish off, we'll add, she's got a little fur bit on her hood there, look. We'll add that in. And we'll just put a little bit of snow on top of the lantern and just a little bit on some odd branches and the highlight on the berries. We like the highlight on the berries, don't we? Look, so just where the snow would catch. And we'll put a little bit on the top of her hat, look. Just here. And then little highlights on these berries. Now, the other thing you can do with your Wink of Stella, so I've very roughly, look, put some snow there. I can actually use the Wink of Stella to blend that. So if I want to add some snow on here and I'm not happy with that, I can just dab it, look, with my Wink of Stella. So I'll add a little bit more snow there and just dab. And then the same around here. So the Wink of Stella has so many uses. I'm just going to come in and add a little bit more detail on top of that. I'm just going to blend that there. And I think I'm going to stop there. Again, just check the nibs clean before we pop it away. Look at that. As I say, this would make a lovely square card design. But I know there are quite a few of you that have messaged and said that square cards are more expensive to post rather than rectangular cards. So for me, finishing trick, we need a little bit of snow. So I'm going to find my posca, and I've got one that's done very good snow recently, so I've written on it snow. But you know what these things are like. We may not get snow today, who knows. So I'm going to give it a shake, just pump, there we go, on the side of my mat, and then let's see if we can Oh yeah, we've got snow today, we're okay. Now I could have flicked water to faux bleach, but I wanted to add snow. Just try and direct it round. Don't really want to cover our lovely Eve. Don't mind a little bit of snow on her, but don't want too much. Right, I'm going to call that a day with the snow. But I just need to wipe that there. And there's a little bit on here. Gets everywhere, the snow. Now, by the same token, those of you that do like larger cards, I think this could be, you could mat and layer this and pop a sentiment underneath, and you could pop this on a larger card or a larger journal page. Now, if I bring in the one I did earlier, are we going side to side or... Okay, we'll go side to side, I think. Can we just about get them both on? You know what I'm like, I'm not very good at making the same thing twice, but I don't think I've done too bad there. I think they're very similar. And as I say, that lovely Wink of Stella to watercolour paint. So I'm hoping you've enjoyed that, and I hope it helps for those of you that are just after some smaller designs. And you know what, I'm going to pop along tomorrow with, maybe we'll go for 4x4. I don't know, but I'll certainly do a smaller design again for you, because again, we like to listen to what you're saying. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you're feeling okay today. And you take care, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.